So what we're looking here is the A-Series hydraulic setup. We have two manifolds. This is the left and right manifold, or for that matter, the front and the rear. We have two manifolds because we do have a two-stage hydraulic pump that is connected directly to the back of the motor and is driven both these manifolds. We're going to go over step by step and recognize every one of these components of the manifolds. Starting off, the front part of the front manifold, which is actually this part here, is concerned the left gutter broom. So what we have here is actually the lock valve, which is a two-way valve, the three-way valve behind it, the directional valve, and behind the directional valve we have the proportional valve that actually is a variable speed valve that controls the speed of the broom, slower or faster. And then of course right next to this is the sweeping head up and down directional valve. Going to the rear manifold, we have the two-way valve, which is the lock valve of the curved broom, the three-way, the directional valve on the right side gutter broom, and the proportional valve or variable speed valve. And then of course we have the rear door directional valve and the hopper up and down directional valve as well. Now all these valves here, they're hydraulic valves, and they are controlled by the electrical wires that come from the control box and energize all these valves. So a small valve here, the lock valve, is there to protect the broom during transport from dropping on the ground by itself. So when this valve over here is not power, it does not see power, it will lock the fluids and will not let the broom drop to the ground. The second one behind it, it's a three-way valve, and this valve over here makes the broom spin and allows the broom to lift. Now, with conjunction with these valves here, one side of the directional valve, of course, is going to power up, and of course, at the same time, the proportional valve will power up when the broom is actually going into motion, or actually when it's going to operation. So when the broom is being activated to operate, you will have power into 1, 2, 3, 4 valves. And then of course, when the broom is being lifted up, the other side of the directional valve and the three-way and the two-way valves will actually be activated. So what we have here, of course, the directional valve, what it does is actually changes the flow of the broom. The top part over here is actually to lift the broom to the position, the bottom to lower, to allow the broom to drop down to the ground and spin, for that matter. Now, of course, the directional valve and all the other valves for the broom, they are activated by those plugs that they call DIN connectors. The DIN connectors, they have 3 wires going to them. They have a blue wire, which is the power going to the valve, and then of course it's got a solid brown and a green with a yellow stripe, which of course both of those are grounds. So therefore, all these coming down to the 2 plugs down below the manifolds, and those connect all the way down to the control box. Now, going back to the rear manifold, we still have the same valves, the same type of valves, of course, for the rear, for the right side gutter broom, and of course, up, down, and your 2-way and 3-way valves that are here in the front, as well as the proportional variable speed valve that is actually between the directional valve and the manifold. Now, on the rear manifolds, the rear 2 valves, which are directional valves, of course, you have the one right next to the broom. It is to open and close the rear door, and the last one in the back, it is your hopper up and down directional valve. Now, both of these manifolds, of course, they are set up to where they relieve at 2,500 psi. So the pump, as it produces pressure, the relief valves that they are underneath the manifolds, those two valves there, they allow the pressure to top at 2,500 psi. In excess of 2,500 psi is actually going to relieve back into the hydraulic tank. Now, there is also another flow control that it is right next to the relief valve on the front side of it, and that flow control allows the broom to come up in so much speed, or actually it should be able to kind of ease up instead of going way too fast and put the brackets and of course the broom arm in a stress. In addition to the valves that you see in the front, of course, we do have some additional valves on the top of the manifold, and in particular, right behind the directional valve for the sweeping head, we have a PO check valve, which is a one-way check to prevent the sweeping head from dropping during transportation. Now, as far as the hydraulic system goes, we have two coolers. There is one cooler that it's in the back of the radiator, and of course we do have an electric cooler that it's on the top of the hydraulic manifolds here, and this one is actually operated after the hydraulic temperature goes over 120 degrees. Now, as you can see, of course, the flow is going from the top through the fan to the bottom. So therefore, you can see where the airflow is and what the fan direction is, that it is labeled into the fan itself. Additionally, we have two additional manifolds that it's further to the front of the power module. And these are what we call the tilt, the gutter broom tilt manifolds. Each one of the manifolds corresponds to each one of the brooms. So therefore, one manifold is for the left gutter broom, and the other manifold, which is on the other side, it is for the right gutter broom. Now, what we see here, of course, we have two solenoids that operate separately, and one is actually to extend the tilt cylinder on the gutter broom, the other one to retract the tilt cylinder on the gutter broom. So the other part that we see here, of course, it is a check valve that we've got one on the top, one on the bottom, and that check valve is there to hold the tilt in one position whenever that is activated. The hydraulic tank, it is situated between the auxiliary engine and the hydraulic manifolds. It is 25.5 gallon hydraulic tank, and of course the fill neck is right in the middle on the top of the tank, and of course that fill neck, that fill cap, it is vented. So therefore, anytime that this cap is actually lost, it should be replaced with a correct fill cap, because if it's not vented, then of course you have the situation to where the hydraulic coil is going to get overheated, and definitely the hydraulic tank is actually going to be blow up like a balloon. The other thing that we see here is a side gauge, and the side gauge is actually in the front of the hydraulic tank, and it shows exactly the level of the hydraulic tank, the temperature at any time that the hydraulics are operating, and also it shows the maintenance personnel if the oil it is contaminated. Now, naturally, and when everything is perfectly working, the hydraulic oil and the hydraulic filter should be changed the first 500 hours, and then every 2,000 hours after that. However, if there is any kind of sign of contamination on the side gauge, Example, if the oil is actually start getting into a milky residue, which means that it's got water in it, then the oil and the filter is going to have to be replaced right away. Also, on the top of the tank, there are hatches to where they can open up and you can get in there and clean the tank with a rag or something like that. Now, the filter, of course, on the other side here, it is a spin-on filter, and it is situated in front. And also, there is a different type of filter that it is actually submerged inside the tank, and that one it is going to have that type of filter is going to have the element replaced. It's still the first 500 hours and then every 2,000 hours thereafter. Other options that they can be found on the hydraulic tank of the A-Series, of course, it is a hydraulic level sensor that is situated in the back side of the hydraulic tank, about in the middle way. And then, of course, there is also a temperature hydraulic sensor that is situated as well in the other side of the tank, and that is reading the temperature of the hydraulic oil, which if it reaches over 190 degrees, it will actually shut the hydraulics down. Another one sensor that it is available, it's optional, but it is available, it is a sensor that it is going into the head of the hydraulic filter, and that one is reading any kind of restriction there is on the hydraulic filter and alerts the maintenance personnel that the filter needs to be replaced. Now, this is an open representation of the control box behind the cab. As you can see, this is the top plug that I was talking about, and this is actually your hydraulics. Now, again, from the hydraulic manifolds, you have the wires coming in, and then, of course, they go to the top or the bottom of the controller inside the control box. Now, the thing about it is, of course, every one of these wires, you can see that they are labeled. Okay, right here you see right gutter broom tilt out. So therefore, this wire here is representing the tilt cylinder out for the tilt manifold on the right gutter broom. And this one, of course, it goes all the way down to the bottom of the controller.